earlier this week, two senators, Liz Warren and John Fetterman, put forth a letter addressed to Attorney General Merrick Garland and the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, encouraging the DEA to use their discretion to deschedule cannabis completely from the Controlled Substances Act as opposed to rescheduling it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Their talking points and their arguments echo a lot of what drug policy reform advocates have been saying, and that rescheduling does not necessarily address removing the criminal element and stop law enforcement from targeting communities of color with prohibition. Additional senators that signed on to the bill are Chuck Schumer, Independent Bernie Sanders, and several GOP senators. In the weeks since the HHS memo that came out recommending a rescheduling, we've seen movement on both sides of the issue, with some former attorney generals and DEA heads encouraging the Biden administration and the DEA to keep cannabis in Schedule 1, as well as members of the same group also calling for rescheduling as well. This seems to be the first prominent step towards encouraging descheduling, which I think from an industry perspective is probably what most of us would encourage as well. One important point of their letter is that rescheduling to Schedule 3 does not address the disconnect between state and federal law, and that programs that exist in states with laws on the books right now would continue to be in violation of the federal law, even with a rescheduling. So their goal is to really deschedule, and I, for one, am happy to see this letter coming forward. We discussed earlier that, the people signing onto this letter we might not agree with either individually or as a group on a lot of issues, but regardless, it's very important to see senators coming together from across the aisle to push what really is the best way to end the federal prohibition on cannabis. So with that, I'd love to hear what the entire team has to say on this. And thank you.
Man,
I'm happy to see this happening because the executive branch was given the authority by Congress to move it in the schedule or to take it completely out. And that's sort of the battle going on here. And, Biden told us a lot of stuff he was going to do about cannabis. He hadn't done shit. As Luke and I haven't gotten a pardon.
No, this is huge. This
a lot of things that they're talking about here, but I've been arguing all along it needs to be descheduled and take away any of this nonsense about FDA approval of all this stuff. Make it like alcohol. Let the states handle most of this, and the feds are only going to collect a tax and make sure that you're free to move around in commerce and that it's relatively safe, and the rest of it's up to the states. And just knock all this nonsense off. But that's my wishful thinking.
Yeah. No. One other important part I think they put into this letter is that the rescheduling versus descheduling, rescheduling would continue to protect the large corporate interests that have, penetrated a lot of these limited license markets, particularly in the Midwest and on the East Coast. And descheduling would do more to address that issue. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Mandy.
No, it's okay. This is just going to be the same thing we shake our head at for a very long time. It's always going to be like this. It's going to until we. I hate to sound like hopeless and like, Dr. Doom, but like this is so frustrating. I bite my lips so much, and at the same time, I just want to like beat my head against the wall. Aggravating
this is a great step in the right direction, because right now you have a bunch of senators on record saying that they support full descheduling, and so this is a huge win. And so I don't want to take anything away from this moment. I think this is fantastic that these senators have taken that stance, and in essence are kind of going against the grain a little bit within their own party, saying that Schedule 3 isn't enough. And so I think this is huge. I hope to see this similar language taken up in the House, and I know that in the House that it would definitely be a bipartisan bill.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So what do we think? What do we think our next steps here? Do you think this is going to get any legs? Do we think we're going to see any legislation at the end of the day?
No.
Discretion wise with the DEA. So I'm with you.
The federal government is like between a rock and a hard place on this topic. I mean, it's probably one of those really sore spots of discontention. And when you think about Like, okay, right now, I challenge everybody who's watching, go on Google and type in cannabis news. And the top 30 articles that you're probably going to find are going to have something to do with some city somewhere talking about what their legalization or accessibility plan is going to be. And actually, that's not even just here in the US. This is almost global, happening on every continent. It's a dialogue that is happening in real time, and real steps are being made. And here's the federal government with the thumb up their ass with articles all day long, like screaming at them about the nonsensical decisions that they're making, and yet they're still moving at a glacier pace. I don't know. I can't get that excited about it anymore. Just tell me,
I'm
call
just
me
excited.
when the real action
I'm
happens.
excited about the fact of the narrative shift. Okay, I'm excited about
sure,
that.
but the narrative can be whatever we make it today. Change the fucking law. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're not going to do that. Biden's pushing for Schedule
Mandy,
3.
I like the spicy Mandy.
Biden's pushing. For
Biden could do
Schedule
it tomorw.
He could.
He could sign an order today to move it to the out of the Controlled Substance Act. He's got that authority.
No,
But
he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He's
He's not going to do it.
He
His
doesn't have
butt
that
puckers up thinking about doing anything positive for cannabis or drugs in general. He's one of the authors of this war on drugs we got.
The president doesn't.
I mean,
have
between
that
the two of my guests right here, we got thumbs up the ass and butt puckering as descriptions to federal policy. And what happens for me is there's no room for me to be the degenerate and to really take us to the gutter. So
You're good at it.
I'm trying, but
Bring
like
us
you
low,
guys have set
Sarah,
the bar
bring us
so
low, all the way down into the gutter.
all right, so
Wanna
this
be in
is
the
what came,
sewer.
this
Gutter.
is what came up for me. When Mandy said thumb up the ass, I started thinking about, is that actually, like, how would you do that? Like, could you actually, are my arms long enough? I'm kind of a short guy. But then I realized there's a stretch and smoke. So if I did stick my thumb up my ass and I was a little sore afterwards, there was a place I could go to get some treatment around that and sort of work it out.
I think you're missing it. They put their thumbs up each other's asses. It's quid pro quo.
Yeah, it's quid pro. Yeah,
boy.
right. No, I
That ain't my
get
kind
that.
of party.
Yeah.
I think Jason's right about this being momentum, momentous,
Yep.
awesome, and
They're on record.
because of politics, it's hard to distinguish between optics and outcomes, grandstanding versus really caring. And so I would love to see a bill that, even if it doesn't pass, shows that those lawmakers were putting their name on something and adding some specificity. I really agree with what Dale said. And I can't help but wonder, if we go that direction, is there a method or mechanisms that can still prioritize on a federal level? And I know you're going to slam me, Jason, social equity and providing some head start for those constituents who have been most impacted by prohibition.
The only way they're going to do that is if they get reparations. That was for you, Rico. That was all for you.
What, Jason?
That's the only way that's going to happen. Is if
I got a radical idea to get the DEA to start moving in the right direction. Put forth a bill that abolishes the DEA and then see if they try and start getting their act together.
Yeah, we know that ain't going to go anywhere fast.
I know, but
Yeah. You know, if you want to get that done, you know,
careful.
you know who you'd have
They'll be
to vote
tapping
for.
your phone, so just be careful.
pretty sure they've been doing that for a long time.
Oh, come on. I mean, Soham just came back into the U.S., so you know he got keister checked on his way back in through customs.
I get pulled aside for random searches at U.S. Customs. I'm pretty sure my phone has been tapped since 9/11.
Squat and lift him. Yeah, squat and lift him. There we go.
Yeah,
I like this shady guy.
exactly right.
Shitty.
You ready?
I don't know,
Rico?
man. Kristen Gillibrand's been she's been down for the cause for a while, and I'm just glad that somebody's actually saying, you know, fuck rescheduling.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. I'm
Waste of time.
I'm so excited. I'm very excited that they did this, and I think that's a big step. And so I do want to commend all of these senators for taking this position and coming out publicly.
And honestly, we do have one side thing to thank Joe Biden for, because Senator Alex Padilla of California was signed on to his descheduling letter, and he was the replacement for none other than our current vice president, who I can promise you would not have been on this letter. She would have been on the rescheduling side of this. So There you go. There's a little silver lining for something that Joe Biden has done for you, Jason.
I mean, he hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't.
So he hasn't done nothing yet, Jason?
No, nothing but mess things up. Nothing but mess things up.
Well, at least, at the very least, you know, I very seldom defend Joe Biden.
You're doing it right now, it sounds like.
At least he ain't out there saying he's done more for black folks than any other president ever.
I mean, but he was out there telling people that if you don't vote for him, you're not black.
Like I said, at least he said he hasn't done more.
I don't know. I think that's way more offensive. I think that's way more offensive than the apparent truth.
Yeah.
I think that's way more offensive than the apparent truth.
You think it's it? As a resident black person, as a resident black host, is that what you're saying, Jason?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's more offensive.
Yep, that's more offensive.
You know, well, just like you, I'm more about
offended.
just like Mandy, I'm more about the action.
I'm offended. I'm offended.
Call me when the decision's been made. Then I will throw a party.
80-year-old white man in America. Chances are, probably got a couple racist bones in their body, whether they believe it so or not. You know, is what it is.
This is the only way Biden could ever redeem himself.
Biden is never going to redeem himself. It's not even possible.
I mean, he could never undo truly what he's done to destroy.
He's out there campaigning. He's out there campaigning.
Lives, but
Mandy, he's out there. Mandy, he's out there campaigning right now that he has He's out there right now campaigning that he has fulfilled his campaign promise to the cannabis community, and we all know that that's total BS. So I'm not buying none of that shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's total BS. He's a liar, an absolute liar. And I'm not thinking that he's gonna be smart enough or brave enough on that mark. I'm not even gonna insult his intelligence. We all know where that lies. But brave enough. You don't have the balls to legalize weed, Biden. Prove me wrong.
Oh yeah, he's not. That's not gonna.
It's not about balls. Between the balls and the butt, you guys are still in the gutter. It's about having a moral compass and something you care about enough that you're willing to take a popular or unpopular stand and do something because you want to be a net positive and you want your legacy to include outcomes that are greater than yourself. And ideally, the people who are called to public service have a North Star. They have a compass. And we talk a lot about how politicians often don't have a compass. They have a weather vane, and they go wherever the political tailwinds will take them. And that's the unfortunate part about it, is that those who are called to public service aren't often called for the right reasons. And Biden is just demonstrating that he doesn't have a North Star with this.
And also it's about making sure that your constituents don't get the shaft.
Rico, we got to go to Yarrow.